crack a Croix one with the boys.
Yeah.
One, two, three.
It's all right, I guess.
Yeah, it tastes pretty all right.
Yeah. So I'm Alana.
And I'm Lauren. And we're the Croix Boys.
So this is a podcast where we drink something we don't like and we talk about something that we do like. Yeah, we're drinking Tangerine Croix today. And current rankings, we got strawberry mango #1, lemon, black cherry white claw, ruby grapefruit white claw, passion fruit, pineapple strawberry, berry, pamplemousse, lime, coconut cola, coconut pure coffee exotica. So what are you thinking, Lauren? Where do you want to put tangerine today?
I was gonna put it above berry.
Okay. So what are you thinking on your numbers? I'll probably give it a 2.7. It's slightly above average.
Really? A 2.7?
Yeah, I like tangerines. It's not bad.
I'm gonna give it a 2.1.
Okay. I also gave it a better ranking because it tastes like the thing it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's definitely like why it's so tolerable.
Mm-hmm. Like
it doesn't have a very bad like aftertaste.
Yeah, because the berry, I gave it such a low one because it tasted weird. Like, I mean, I guess berry isn't a real, it's just a general thing, but it tasted weirdly artificial, like compared to the other ones. So I was like, eh. But yeah, all right. So now our current rankings are strawberry mango #1, lemon, black cherry white claw, ruby I can't say it. Ruby grapefruit white claw, passion fruit, pineapple strawberry, tangerine, berry, pamplemousse, lime, coconut cola, coconut pure, and coffee exotica last. All right, and now we have to finish the Croix. And when we finish, we gotta say that we finished, and it'll be our Croix to bear.
All right, it's time to talk about the piece of media that we consumed this week. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was randomized for my pick.
Yeah.
It's everybody's favorite show from childhood. Not really. But it's a very enjoyable show. We all remember it. Most of us thoroughly enjoyed it. And, you know, it's still popping up today. I feel like it's a very memeable show.
Yeah.
And, you know, people are talking about it.
I don't know where are people talking about it?
They like the Prindle thing.
Oh, the Prindle. Yeah, the Prindle is memorable.
I was going to try to look up some memes to look at.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find, like, a consistent place for some good memes.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you, Lon? What are your childhood feelings and mayhaps nostalgia for this show?
So this show started in 2005, which is the year that we moved. So I remember the year that it started very well. You know, I liked it as a kid. You know, and I watched a decent amount of reruns of the show, but I feel like out of all the childhood shows that we watched, it wasn't my favorite. It was like medium tier. Like I like Ned's Declassified more. And you know, I'll get a little bit more into it in the review part, but you know, it was okay. I liked it as a kid. I thought it was okay as I grew up, you know, just a middle tier show. So it definitely has its moments, its shining moments, but yeah, that's how I feel about it and how I got to know it.
All right. Now it's time for our famous Wikipedia summary.
Mm-hmm.
Life is sweet, or at least sweet, that's spelled S-U-I-T-E, for identical teenage twins, Zack and Cody Martin, after their mom, Carrie, lands a job headlining at the 5-star Tipton Hotel in Boston, which comes with an upper-floor suite. From the new roost, the twins turn the hotel into their playground. Although the pranks are usually instigated by girl-obsessed Zack, not the more mature and intellectual Cody. When her schedule permits, the boys are handled, that's in quotation marks, handled, by Maddie Fitzpatrick, the teenage candy counter girl, who also is the somewhat unlikely best friend of the spoiled London Tipton, the daughter of the hotel's owner. So, I definitely liked the show. I think I would have enjoyed it more if I was watching it with you, Alana, in person.
Yeah.
Because I felt like we could make fun of it more.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely.
Without worrying about like talking over each other. Because we had to watch it, like, you know, online together a bit. And for some reason, the audio was really loud, and I couldn't change the audio that was playing the show. And it made me have to, like, lower our voices, and we couldn't really hear each other. I appreciate that it's literally just, like, quip after quip after quip after bit after joke after, I don't know. I thought they were all pretty much some level of funny. I didn't really feel like quite that many of them are cringy. I mean, there were a few I feel like that were kind of offensive just because of the time.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But, you know, those are things that you have to be willing to look over. There's nothing you can do to change that now.
Right.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
But I do think what it kind of lacks, well, the major thing that it lacks from the other show that we did, Ned's Declassified, is that it doesn't really have that much heart to it. Not as much as that show. They did the typical kind of Disney thing where, like, the main characters get in trouble and then they learn lessons on the way, kind of. And their lessons are basically just listen to your mom and or else you'll get in trouble. And that's just typical Disney stuff. And it still doesn't hold up that much heart, and it doesn't seem to have quite that much of a purpose. I appreciate the cast of characters.
Sure, yeah.
I think everybody was actually, like, good in the beginning. Although in the third season, it was weird because I feel like Maddie and London in particular, they, I don't know, they started to become cringy in their acting, I feel like.
Well, there's only one episode of the third season we watched, so I don't even really remember it outside of the episodes that we watched.
That's true. I feel like London in the beginning was a more manageable amount of dumb, but then she definitely became more of a caricature in the later seasons.
Sure.
And so I guess in particular I'm thinking of the lip syncing in the rain episode where Maddie was kind of, she had Sharpay energy, which I didn't understand. It was a very high energy, and it just felt cringy to me. And London, and people were saying that she couldn't play Sharpay because she was too nice. But I was like, she's literally not being nice at all in this episode. And I don't know, I didn't like it. Didn't like her character. But then I watched the earlier episodes, and I'm like, okay, she's a lot more toned down and seems like a normal person. And I can see how they would think that she's a really nice person. And I just don't know when this change happened.
Okay.
And when I was looking at all the best episode lists, there weren't very many from season 3.
Yeah.
So I assume that's because season 3 wasn't quite as standout.
Sure,
you know?
Yeah.
But I think in the beginning, it definitely had that kind of charm for children, just like being kind of a fantasy life where you just run around a hotel. Why are you laughing?
No, I just thought it was funny. You're good, yeah.
Yeah, like they're doing things that every kid wants to do. And, you know, they have these solid jokes. They have these characters that I think overall I like and enjoy. There wasn't anything that I particularly hated, but I don't think it quite had, like, enough substance. Like, it kind of feels like it was more just pushing out shows for money and stuff like that.
Okay, sure.
Where Ned's Classified didn't feel that way as much.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so like I said, I feel like overall it was okay. It wasn't like the worst thing I've ever watched. There are some jokes in its time that I didn't quite appreciate. There's a lot of weird jokes about like hitting on girls that didn't want to be hit on.
It's mostly just women.
Like, oh, that's annoying. That was kind of consistent. That was a consistent thing. That's why it stuck out the most. In terms of everything else, I didn't find most of the jokes funny. I suppose maybe my childhood self may have, but I found that the majority of the jokes were not funny to me and they didn't really land. And so I wasn't really like laughing at it or anything like that. The one thing that I thought was interesting that I guess I didn't even think about as a kid, because, I don't know, I just wasn't something I thought about. But like, this is an obvious thing. I'm sure everyone noticed it, but the fact that they had, London and Maddie. So Maddie's like this blonde girl, and then London is, Asian. So like the fact that they kind of like switched the stereotypes, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like the characters, they're kind of like one note.
Mm-hmm.
Like they themselves are kind of stereotypes.
They are.
But then, yeah, they did switch London and Maddie's kind of stereotype on like race and like being blonde.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that Ashley Tisdale tried out for both roles of London and Maddie.
Okay.
So I don't think that was like a conscious choice from the beginning.
Really? Oh, well, that's sad. I thought it was.
Yeah, in the end, that's what they decided to do.
Okay.
And I guess that's kind of admirable.
I mean, I wouldn't even go as far as to say it's admirable, but it's interesting, I would say. Because I still think in a weird way, it's kind of complicated, but the fact that they switched the stereotypes they still embody the stereotypes because they're each other's foils. So it doesn't improve the stereotype. It just makes it different, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but I just thought it was interesting.
Maybe they were just trying to get away from problematic stereotypes in 2005, I guess. I don't know. Probably not, but I don't know.
Not.
I don't know why they did it, but they did it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I have to say is that I thought it was okay. I didn't find a lot of the jokes funny. Some of the characters I found to be more interesting than others. And it was a fine children's show at the time. It wasn't there's nothing incredibly awful about it. I've seen worse children's shows even when I was a child, so it's perfectly entertaining enough. Mid to late 2000s show. That's it. I'm done.
Let's just do episode rankings. So I put down as my favorite episode, Lip Syncing in the Rain.
I see.
I think I just love a musical episode.
That's true. We did, was it the How I Met Your Mother one as well? Yeah.
And also I have a lot of musicals on my list, but I'm not like a musical person, mostly because I don't want to put in the effort to look at musicals. But like comedies with musicals is a good mix. Particularly, I like the Floss song. Okay. It's great. It might be, for me, the most memorable moment on the show. Just like before rewatching it.
Yeah. Did you want to read the summary of the episode?
Sure. So London, even though she can't sing or dance, gets the role of Sharpay in their school production of High School Musical instead of Maddie because Mr. Tipton is financing the director's play Floss on Broadway. Zack has to work backstage for detention, and Cody gets the part of Troy. So yeah, Floss is the best part of the episode, arguably the show, and
for sure.
I don't know. It's just fun to see High School Musical. They had the joke about Maddie not getting the part of Ashley Tisdale and that she doesn't look like, the part of Sharpay and that she doesn't look like Ashley Tisdale.
Mm-hmm.
Which they definitely overplayed that joke, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But yeah, it was a fine conflict. That's it.
All right, so my favorite episode was also lip syncing in the rain.
Yes.
Yeah, like it is a good episode. You know, it's got a strong middle little twist-ish. I guess it's not really that much of a twist, but you know, Maddie plays Ryan's role in the musical. Yeah, I like the one-off character kid. I don't know who he is. But
Antonio.
Antonio. I thought he was interesting. He's a bit of a one note, but I feel like that's what you need when you're
in. We still didn't get his whole story, so you know there's kind of a interest there.
You know, I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Overall, it was a very good episode.
But yeah, I guess it did have like a sweet moment where Maddie and London were singing together.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't going at each other.
Oh, I forgot. Mr. Mosby had a good part too, where he's teaching London how to dance.
Oh yeah. That was another iconic thing.
Yeah.
Was it funky legs? Funky legs. Yeah.
So, lots of solid moments for a lot of characters.
Yeah. I feel like every show has solid moments.
Mm-hmm.
My one runner-up is Bowling.
Oh.
That was season 2, episode 13.
Mm-hmm.
When the Tipton staff keeps losing at sports against Ilsa and the St. Mark crew, Zack tells them he's a good bowler, so they decide to play bowling against them. Irwin, however, has a fear of bowling and quits. Zack is the best bowler on the Tipton team, but gets grounded for a month for playing a mean trick on Cody and can't help his team in a bowling contest against the St. Mark Hotel. So Irwin has to fill in for him, regardless of a bowling incident that he experienced years ago. So we got a little bit of a look into Irwin's past. You think of him only being good at one thing, which is like just building stuff. Yeah. But now we see him in another part of his prime, in the bowling league. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And Irwin as a character. Esteban's also there. I like Ilsa, or whatever her name is, because she plays Aunt Hilda on Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
You should put that on the list.
You can.
Okay.
And I thought she was pretty good in that. He had some good trick shots.
Sure, yeah. Solid one from London. Mm-hmm. She knocked down the other pins in another lane. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I feel like it was one of the less chaotic ones. It was also like outside of the hotel. And that's always fun. But yeah, I just had a good time watching it.
Yep. It was a fine episode.
It was fun.
There's a life lesson somewhere in there, I suppose.
Well, Zack on trouble, so that's how you know there's a life lesson.
Yeah, that's the reason I brought it up.
Irwin faces fears. I guess that's it.
All right, so my runner-up was Midsummer's Nightmare. Here's the summary. So Zack and Cody are in a school play. Cody and a girl named Gwen, played by Selena Gomez, are going out. Zack likes Vanessa. Zack gets a role in the play where he has to kiss Gwen. When they are practicing the kiss, Gwen starts to like Zack. Zack doesn't like her back. Vanessa likes Cody. Cody changes the kissing scene to help from Hackness because she couldn't stand to see Zack kiss another girl. London changes the look of the hotel to bring good luck with the art of feng shui. None of that stuff matters. I'm going to skip that because the other stuff doesn't really matter. It's just feng shui stuff. And but, you know, Esteban was there, so that was kind of nice. So the reason I like this episode because I thought it was like a fun little Shakespeare thing. I like Shakespeare's cool, you know, and it was outside of the hotel, you know, it's just fun, you know, and overall, I thought it was just a fun little, there was no life lessons, you know, and then Bob was there, you know.
Yeah, Bob.
And he had a really good line, where he's just like, look at all these dumb humans. I think he's like foolish mortals or whatever, but, you know, it was just, you know, it wasn't serious. It was just a fun time. I thought it was it was a fun way to teach kids about Shakespeare, and maybe it'll help them remember some stuff about Shakespeare when they are learning about it. So maybe it indirectly will help some kids learn.
I'm glad you liked it because it wasn't really on any of the lists I looked at, but I remember really liking this one, so I put it on there.
Yeah.
I think the primary reason why I didn't put it as my favorite is because I think I was falling asleep when we were watching that together.
Okay.
So I couldn't in good conscience put it like anywhere on the list.
Okay. Yeah, I was slightly worried because you didn't put on your list that it was going to be on one of your least favorites or something.
Nah.
Okay.
But yeah, Selena Gomez is there.
Oh yeah, she's there. Yep.
And also the girl from The Troop. You remember that show, Lana?
The Troop.
Yeah. It was Nickelodeon. They were like monster hunters in high school. Well, anyway.
Vaguely remember it, just slightly. I think I only watched a couple episodes. It's not really.
So for my least favorite episode, I had a hard time picking. I didn't particularly hate any of these episodes, but I picked Band in Boston.
Okay.
I think part of it is like I didn't really like the song.
Okay.
And I felt like a lot of it was
out.
Anyway, I feel like that was a lot of the episode actually.
Yeah, they just restart the song a bunch of times.
Yeah, at least
like 4 times.
3.5 times, I think. Irwin was there, and that was pretty nice though. Yeah, I felt like there was absolutely no lesson to be learned. Maybe something about teamwork, but it really didn't matter. Oh, should I read the summary?
Sure, go ahead.
Band in Boston, Season 1, Episode 9. Zack, Cody, Max, and Tapeworm organize a band called Rock Squared. That's an alright name for a kid's band.
Yeah.
For Battle of the Bands, but due to fighting, Cody quits the band. On the day of the event, Max locks the twins in their closet, but they find their own way there with the help of Irwin. Meanwhile, Maddie and Lance's band, Waterworks... what? I don't understand this sentence. Meanwhile, Maddie and Lance's band, Waterworks, for Battle of the Bands, instruments are funded by London after they promised she could be a backup singer, but she's a terrible singer. So yeah, I didn't like the B plot at all, really.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
It wasn't funny. And it was kind of sad how they're treating London, even though she was kind of stuck up, and she said that she wouldn't have paid for the instruments, but, you know, in that way, there really wasn't a lesson learned.
Yeah, there wasn't.
Either way, they wouldn't have had a positive outcome.
I think
there was the right thing.
Yeah, I think London and Maddie talk. Yeah, because you're that's when she said she wouldn't have funded it if they told her. But so there really wasn't. So even though they're like, you should have told me, but then Maddie's like, but you wouldn't have done it, and it's just like, yeah.
Maybe there's a harsh life lesson.
I guess so.
But it didn't really feel that way. In some episodes, I like Max, but Max and Tapeworm didn't really add anything to the show. It was kind of nothing. It wasn't very funny.
Yep, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Also, Maddie's singing was not great in this either. It's like,
it was annoying.
Only one. Yeah.
None of the songs were good. That was a bad musical episode.
It really was. So, my least favorite episode was The Ghost of Sweet 613. And here's a summary. Zack plays practical jokes on everyone, embracing them around other people. He, Cody, and Maddie later hear that London encountered a ghost in Suite 613. They go to try and see it. Mariel tells them that a ghost was a wealthy woman named Irene who was at the hotel on her honeymoon with her husband, who later cheated on her with another woman. Irene then angrily threw a gift of a mirror, thus shattering it, and killed herself. After Mr. Mosby tells them an encounter he had with the ghost, Zack later dares Cody to spend a night at the suite. They try to talk to the spirit, getting Esteban possessed and making him, Cody, Maddie, and London disappear. It is then revealed to be a practical joke for Zack Zack and Cody later return to the room when a woman who looks exactly like Irene encounters them and leaves, passing through the wall with a portrait in the wall. There's the walls, and that sentence sounded really bad. Anyway, yeah, I didn't care for this episode because it was weird. I guess the lesson was don't play too many practical jokes or else they get old and then your friends have to play a practical joke on you. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a nothing episode to me. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It was just like, there's nothing interesting about this. There's not really any conflict. You don't feel like the characters are in any danger. There's nothing to assume that this is actually happening. So it's either like a dream or it's not real. So I don't know. The stakes were non-existent. The lesson was also non-existent.
My thing is, it's a Halloween special. All rules are out. Even if it's a dream, I think I would still be able to enjoy it. I think this was a great episode. I love the atmosphere. Special effects were there. We had a bunch of characters, like pretty much all the characters. Esteban was great.
The problem is, I'm telling you, at its base value, there was nothing in there that was gained or lost for any of the characters. I at no point had any worries about it because the show set itself up to make me know that I am not supposed to care about this. I just want the stakes to make enough sense for me to care about what they're doing in the world. And I didn't because I already knew that they were okay. So I was like, why do I care? They're okay.
Because it's entertaining and interesting, Alana.
In what way?
Well, the seance was pretty cool. You know,
that was
something goes. There was a story.
That was like a minute.
What are you talking about, Alana? Everything in this show is a minute. I don't remember the prank stuff as much as I remember the stuff in Sweet 613. It's still entertaining, even if you know it's a prank. It's all right. There's a lot of production going into it. It's a wild ride.
I think they could have done it better. They could have done it much better, and they didn't.
I wasn't bored with this episode. Nothing made me mad. I don't know why you like the crime stuff and figuring out the mystery. Why is it so important to you, Lana?
Because they set it up better.
Oh, the setup. Oh, looking at things from a whole.
You have to set it up in a way that makes sense, so that when you
this is our fundamental.
See it, when you look back at it, you're like, oh, here's the actual lines of the plot that I could see where you could come to that conclusion. Where this was so obvious, it was just a straight line. It was a big straight line. It was like, well, crazy stuff's happening. Let me look back.
I don't think it was that obvious. But anyway, I think we are coming to fundamental differences where you like a show that makes sense and is, quote, well written. And I like a show for its entertainment and shock value and all that stuff.
All right, sure. That's fair. All right.
Even though I don't think it was badly enough set up to warrant being on the worst episode list.
All right. Do you have any honorable mentions?
So I picked Odd Couples.
Okay, yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's pretty bad, actually.
And that was season 2, episode 1. London likes a merit scholar, played by Zac Efron, and Maddie helps her to trick him into thinking she's smart. Cody moves into a coat closet because Zack is too messy and doesn't clean his side of the room. To Zach's surprise, Cody makes the room more home, and home is in quotation marks, more home, like by putting in a flat screen TV and more. It has the gag out of the TV show Odd Couple that Zack is like Oscar and Cody is like Felix. I didn't know that. I don't know what that show is.
Me neither.
But I think so there are 2 reasons why I put this on the list. Because Zephron makes an appearance.
That's his first appearance before HSM.
Yeah. Also, I really like the scene where everybody's in Cody's closet and room service and like cleaning and the TV screen and everybody's just coming in
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool, and especially to
Yeah.
a kid, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was fine. I like that part.
Yeah. But honestly, that plot wasn't that interesting or funny overall.
Yeah.
And, I didn't like the Maddie Zephron part
Yeah, it's pretty
at
bad.
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cringy.
It was.
Maddie and Zephron were talking politics, and it was very poorly done. And they're just tricking this man too, and certainly no lesson was learned there.
Nope.
Maybe they tried to force a lesson on you, but really there was no lesson. I feel like it was probably the hardest to watch. So yep, that's my first episode. Now we can get into our character rankings. My best boy is Mr. Mosby.
I see.
I think he had a surprising amount of heart and tender moments, especially with London and being kind of like a father figure to her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably one of the parts of the show that had the most heart.
Yeah, for sure.
Was consistently funny.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he had the Prindle.
Mm-hmm.
He had the crazy legs.
Technically, London had the Brindle.
Well,
I mean, he made it to a joke, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I guess it's kind of a 50-50. But also he's like, do you want to turn the radio on to am or boom?
Yeah, that was a good line.
Yeah, that was very good. Best delivery.
Yeah, for sure.
He has a lot on his plate. He tries to make time for shenanigans. He certainly didn't like to deal with the children, Zack and Cody.
But that's fair,
Yeah.
They run around all
like,
the time. It's warranted.
Yeah. I don't feel like he truly hated them, and he just wanted them to become better, more disciplined people,
Yeah.
And
like a father
I'm sure,
figure.
yeah. I'm sure he had tender moments with them too. He had tender moments with everybody.
He did.
With all the children.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. My best boy is also Mr. Mosby. Yeah, so overall, I think he just has the best. He's got the best everything. He's really I'll say triple force, but in the sense of that, he's got the comedy, he's got the dancing, he's got the heart, I'm sure he can sing really well too. I feel like he's got a voice that he probably.
He's a leader.
Yeah, he's a leader.
Yeah.
He's got so many talents, and I think part of it is the delivery, because it's not so much that the jokes are funny, it's just the way he delivers them are so well done that he's like the type of person that can make jokes that aren't funny just by the way that he says them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really good talent that not a lot of people have, and like I said, the heart is there with that.
He knows how to play it up for the comedy,
and
how to tone it down for those nice heartful moments.
Exactly, yeah. And so I think he's just a really standout character. I don't think there's anyone who would disagree that Mr. Mosby isn't a great character. I feel like he is an iconic character.
Yeah.
Out of all the characters, I would say Mr. Mosby is the one that stands the test of time. Esteban is also. I would say like Mr. Mosby and then like Esteban are like the two characters that stand out in the show, and are probably the most like memeable in a sense, but like in the sense of just like good nostalgic memeable content. Because of the energy that they put out there. Yes. So that's why he is my best boy.
Okay. So for my one honorable mention, I put down Irwin.
Oh, okay.
I think really the only problematic thing about him is his crush on Carrie.
Yeah.
But, it could be so much worse.
I suppose so. He's timid. He's like he's scared.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes he's a bit creepy, but anyway.
Yeah.
I think he's funny, but he's also a nice guy. And he adds a lot of, like, the gadgets and, like, the really ridiculous moments that I enjoyed. Again, the bowling episode, it was a good one for me. And, I thought that guy's delivery was pretty good. He made me laugh, and he brought up the silliness and absurdity of the show. So for that, I appreciate him.
Sure, yeah. So my one honorable mention, I chose Max. So Max was only in one of the episodes that we watched, but I know she pops up in some other ones. But part of the reason that I chose her was I feel like, out of all the female characters, I found that she was the least problematic. And I feel like she's just a solid character. I feel like she in the episode that we did watch with the Battle of the Bands or whatever it's called, she was doing her best to mediate and be and just trying to get things done. And I appreciate that. I know that you had some drawbacks or whatever about her character. She's boring or whatever, and I don't know.
I think just in that episode.
I like her. I think she's a nice episode or a nice character to see on screen. I just enjoyed her presence for the most part. It was a bit of a refreshing moment because even though I guess in a way she is a little bit of a stereotype in terms of like being a tomboy.
One of the boys.
Yeah, but she's still refreshing as a character. So that was part of the reason why I chose her. So there you go.
Yeah.
I always remember liking her character.
Yeah. I only had one Croix boy. It was hard.
Yeah, I was surprised you came up with one. I thought you were going to say you didn't have any.
Well, again, a lot of people had stuff I hated and liked about them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was heavily influenced by the internet when I was looking at these reviews to like some of the characters I didn't like more.
Mm-hmm.
But I put down as my Croix boy London Tipton.
Okay.
Basically, she's supposed to be a parody of Paris Hilton. But I feel like she didn't have quite that many positive aspects. I think in the beginning, maybe she kind of showed more intelligence, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And like being able to like manipulate people, kind of. Just having more kind of people skills, especially in comparison to Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. She kind of acted as like, a selfish kind of person. A lot of the time, I found her to be kind of annoying.
Yeah, that's fair. Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. She's probably the one that I enjoyed the least. That's it.
Definitely, I think her stereotype is so strong to the point where it's like really, it gets old really fast.
Mm.
So I definitely agree with you. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate her, but I didn't like her either. I wish she was more interesting. So, I mean, all her jokes are that she doesn't understand things. Yeah, I just feel like she's a one-note character. So, I don't know. If you don't like the slapstick type comedy, you're not going to really like her. So, that's fair. So my Croix boy, the boy that left a bad taste in my mouth like this tangerine LaCroix that I'm almost done with.
I'm not. I don't even know if I'm halfway through.
Is Warren. I don't know if you know who this is. It's a nerdy black kid that showed up in 2 of the episodes that we watched. So the reason I like him is because he's always hitting on girls, like really creepily. I don't like it. In both episodes, he's being creepy, and I was like, no. And that's the main reason. Even though that's just the overall problem that I have with the show is the guys being really creepy to the girls. But yeah, I just felt like he added nothing compared to the other side characters that existed, and his creepy moments really overshadowed anything that he did in any of the shows or any of the episodes. So that's why I didn't like him. So my honorable Croix boys, I suppose I had 2. All right, so one of them is Irwin.
Arwin.
It's not an I.
It's not an I.
Arwin, whatever. The point is that I didn't really like him that much because I don't know. I just found him to be cringy. Like he reminded me of a side character in Big Bang Theory, and that's why I didn't like him. He reminded me of Big Bang Theory, just like awkward with women, super nerdy, lives with his mom. Well, I guess he lives in, it's confusing because they say he lives in a basement, but he talks about his mom a lot.
He does.
So I don't know what's going on there. But it doesn't matter. The point is that he reminds me of Big Bang Theory, and that's why I don't like him. But it's fine if you like him. My other one was Maddie, because the first episode, so this is the second episode, season 1, the one with the pageant or whatever. There's a point where Maddie goes in and she's talking to the girls and she's like, looks aren't everything. You gotta read books and be smart too or whatever. But also she has points where she's like very, I don't know, obsessed with looks and stuff too. And it's confusing. I don't quite understand that. I mean, I guess it's just kind of I guess my problem is that these characters are so one-noted most of the time that when they do show some complexity, it just comes off as contradictory and not so much a human aspect of just being a person. So she would say one thing and she would do something else, and it was confusing, and I didn't like that. And also in general, I found her to be a pretty judgmental person.
Yeah, that's true.
So there you go.
All fair points. All right, so would you recommend it? I would, just because there are a lot of jokes, and I feel like there's a lot of nostalgia there if you watched it before. I guess I don't know if you hadn't seen it before and you're like above the age of 12, probably. I don't think you could really get that into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there could be a couple episodes that you can just enjoy and not pay that much attention to. I guess overall, I recommend it.
Okay, so I would say it's worth watching for Mr. Mosby. Watch a compilation with Mr. Mosby, and then don't watch the show. So my reasoning is because I barely laughed at any of it. I found it to be mostly boring. Like I said, I didn't find there to be anything particularly unique about the show that would make me want to watch it. There's nothing conceptually that I found unique about it the second time I watched it. It very much blended in with a lot of even older sitcoms, even a Saved by the Bell or something like that. So in a sense, it's nice that you have this sort of mid to late 2000s sort of time capsule of what life was like in fashion and things of that nature. But I think overall, or even technology and things of that nature, I think it's interesting in that aspect. But in terms of an entertainment value, I think there are plenty of other good children's sitcoms out there that in general, it's not probably worth watching aside from a couple of episodes. Like the Lip Singing in the Rain is a solid one. I think that one's worth watching, especially if you like High School Musical. I think overall that one's worth watching. Even kids, I feel like could get something out of it. But overall, out of all the episodes that I watched, there's nothing that I would recommend specifically to watch especially if you've never seen the show before. And then if you haven't seen the show in a long time like me, I wouldn't really recommend anything other than some compilation stuff.
I guess specific jokes didn't really make me laugh that much overall, but I think the absurdity of it made me laugh more because, I don't know, I'm kind of weird in the things that make me laugh.
Sure. That's
normally it has to kind of be a surprise,
mm-hmm.
kind of thing, or what's happening kind of thing that I laugh. And I thought it was very entertaining, even though it didn't have quite that much substance.
But to be honest, I was very bored most of the time. But, different strokes for different folks,
Yeah.
You know what they say.
Whatever.
All right. Oh, yeah. Also, I finished my Croix. I bore my Croix. Are you ready to find out what we're doing next week? So first, we're going to figure out what our Croix is. And next week's Croix is orange. So we did tangerine and now we're doing orange. Woo. All right. And next week is going to be my pick. And I changed the list a lot. So, because I don't know how busy I'm going to be in these upcoming weeks, times are crazies, but I think we should be able to finish everything on the list. Oh, okay. All right. So next we're gonna do a game, our first video game. It's gonna be Off. And that game is about 4-ish hours long. We'll talk about it later, Lauren. But if you don't want to play it, it's a free game. It's an RPG Maker game, so you can play it if you want to. But yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited for this. This is my favorite. I call it my favorite video game. So I'm very excited about it. It should be a good time.
Well, I finished my Croix.
Are you lying or are you telling the truth?
I'm telling the truth.
Okay, I was making sure.
Well, I finished.
I didn't check. You said you didn't even know if you were halfway done.
I think I finished after the next Croix was selected. I bought my crit.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to you as well.
Thank you. So that's it for our podcast this week. I am Alana.
And I am Lauren. And we are the Croix
Boys. Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, subscribe, review, comment.
Yeah. Email us at thecroixboys with a Z at gmail.com.
Yeah, for questions, concerns, recommendations for segments you might like, or, maybe a TV show or something.
A TV show?
Well, I don't know, because in the past we said we have more than enough suggestions, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there might be stuff we overlooked, we weren't thinking about.
We're not open to suggestions.
Right. Exactly.
1, 2, 3. I got beef between my teeth, it would be boss. If I have floss, so my stick is stuck. I'm out of luck, I'm at a loss. Without my floss, I got beef between my teeth, it would be boss. If I have floss, the stick is stuck. I'm out of luck, I'm at a loss. Without my floss, I had beef between my teeth, it would be boss. If I had floss, that stick is stuck. I'm out of luck, I'm at a loss. Without my floss, I got between my teeth, it would be boss. If I had floss, that stick is stuck. I'm at a luck, I'm at a loss. Without my floss, I can't eat lentil. Without lentil floss.
This really was the sweet life.
Bazinga!